Sports Talk. Here's your host, Alan Michael.
It's time to play ball.
When North meets South, the champion will remain standing. Welcome to Sports Talk, everybody. I am Alan Michael, ready to talk some sports with you. Thanks for clicking on the live link if you follow me on Twitter at AlanMaggle, AlanMaggle. And of course, sportstalk.com is where every single show resides. And of course, the YouTube page. Please subscribe and subscribe to your podcast gimmicks. Today, we are going to talk about Big Fight Feel, and it is in the air. And of course, if you're downloading this or seeing it on the YouTube stream, this says that it is the show for July 24th, for last Friday. This is a makeup show, obviously. We are perfectionists here at Sports Talk. We were unable to go live that day, but we're going to give you two shows today on this Monday, July 27th, which means we are less than a week away from the big fight, the next big fight, the next best fight, and that is UFC 190, headlined by the biggest name in women's sports going today, Ronda Rousey, and she will be heading down south, South America to be exact, Brasilia. She will be taking on Besh Pitbull Correia. These are two undefeated women battling it out with just unbelievable amounts of bad blood and tension all over the place. This is a grudge match if there ever was one in the UFC. And folks, it don't get no bigger than this. Undefeated, title on the line, pride on the line, and the story behind this one is epic. Ronda Rousey, Besh Correia, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, home of the next Summer Olympic Games. I'm telling you, the hype is unbelievable. I am ready. I've already called my local cable operator. I am prepared for August 1 for UFC 190. And even if you aren't a fan of the UFC, even if you aren't a fan of mixed martial arts, you have to be a fan of big fights. And this one is going to deliver. And it could deliver in a variety of ways. Now, if you don't know who Ronda Rousey is, if you live under a rock, she just so happens to be what's causing all this in women's sports, in this revolution that we're seeing in women's sports right now. She is the top draw in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. She's the top draw in all of women's sports. She's a hero to many, despised by few, but the few she is despised by are all going to be rooting against her when she goes down to Brazil to take on her opponent, Besh Correia, who is undefeated as well, 9-0. The contrast, the styles, the words that have been spoken, where I'm going to run it down. I'm going to get you nice and properly hyped for this epic fight we're going to see in just a few short days, Saturday night, live on pay-per-view. There's so much going into this, and we got to start from the very beginning, which is Besh Correia taking out two, not one, but two of Ronda's besties, two of her best friends, one being Shayna Baszler, a badass mixed martial artist herself. So Ronda runs with these three girls. They used to live together, and they're called the Four Horsewomen. That's the nickname they adopt. Ronda just so happens to be a big fan of pro wrestling as well. So two of the Four Horsewomen go down at the hands of Besh Correia, this violent, vicious, undefeated Brazilian female mixed martial artist. So, Ronda takes note, and she sees two of her friends fall, and she tells Dana White, "Give me her. I want to Rocky IV the hell out of her." Now, Correia didn't kill Ronda's two best friends, but she did handle them pretty easily. So Ronda wants some revenge for her girls. And that's amazing. She even quoted, I mean, she's best friends with Stallone. Rocky 4, I mean, it's in real life, that's amazing, right? Just right there. All right, I want to see this. Ronda's out for revenge. Usually Ronda's out there just because she's pissed off and wants to keep her undefeated streak going and be just the greatest women's athlete we maybe have ever seen. But now she's pissed off. But wait, there's even more behind this thing. Now, Besh Correia is an extremely prideful Brazilian. She is proud of her 9-0 record. You gotta at least admit this, as much of a Ronda Rousey fan that I am, and is, we're all pulling for the USA to take down Brazil in this World War III of sorts. You got to give it up to Besh Correia. She's undefeated, and she doesn't get a thimble's worth of the press that Ronda Rousey gets. And in the build-up to this fight, you could obviously see this doesn't sit well with Miss Correia. She hates the media attention Ronda Rousey gets. She's basically gone on to say Ronda Rousey is mostly a fabrication created by the media. She has beaten her opponents before the matches have even begun because the media has gotten it into her opponents' heads that Ronda is that much better than them. These are some harsh words, but they get harsher. So she's defending her undefeated streak at home in Brazil. Her whole country rooting for her. And in the build-up to this fight, the clash of styles. One's a judo master. The other one's got powerful punches. And in all the hoopla that goes into a big fight, Besh Correia said that she hopes Ronda doesn't go back to doing drugs after she loses and after Besh beats her. That's messed up. But then even more messed up, and this is where the line was crossed, and this went from big fight to big rivalry, big bad blood fight, the match of the year, the fight you gotta see. Besh Correia said that after I beat Ronda Rousey, I hope she doesn't kill herself. Please don't kill yourself, Ronda, after I end your streak and I make you look like a fool. Harmless, kind of. It sounds like standard, shit talking before a big fight. But just so happens that Ronda Rousey's father committed suicide when Ronda was a young girl. Ronda Rousey has said this is the greatest tragedy her family's ever faced, obviously. Besh Correia brought up suicide in the marketing and the trash talking leading up to this UFC 190. She claims she didn't know this fact. It's pretty well documented. Some say it's disingenuous, the post-comment apology by Besh Correia. Ronda Rousey doesn't care. She doesn't care about the apology. She has said that after Correia crossed this line, she's not going to forget that she said it. She's extremely pissed off that this was part of the marketing. So if she wasn't pissed off already about her two friends going down to the pit bull, now she's enraged after what Correia says was a slip-up and didn't know and it was accidental. So whether you did it or not intentionally, you accidentally or intentionally pissed off the most badass woman in the world. So now Ronda Rousey is going into this fight angrier than we've ever seen her go into a fight. If you think Ronda Rousey matches and fights are entertaining when she's just going in there to compete, I cannot fathom what she is going to do to Besh Correia on Saturday night in Correia's home country. I mean, Rocky 4 was the war to settle the score. It was east-west. It was the revenge for Apollo Creed's death at the hands of the evil Ivan Drago. This is real life, though, people. 2 of Ronda's best friends went down to Correia. They didn't die, but they were embarrassed, and Correia talked just as much smack as Drago did back then. Then the line was crossed, talking about the tragedy faced by the Rousey family. Needless to say, Ronda Rousey has gone on to say after the comments, she's not going into the fight now just to win. She's going into the fight to disfigure Correia. She wants Correia to look different from when she comes into the octagon and when she leaves the octagon. She wants to change her appearance. And Ronda Rousey, who we all know is the queen, the ruler, the greatest at finishing a fight early. She says she's going to drag this one out purposefully to administer punishment and pain to Correia. I cannot get enough Ronda Rousey. I cannot get enough big fights. And when you put the two together with all the bad blood in this one, I'm going to go on record now before this fight and say that at the end of 2015, whether you're talking all pro sports, boxing, MMA, pro wrestling, any kind of combat sport, this is going to go down as the fight of the year in 2015. Maybe because it's going to have a controversial ending. The atmosphere is going to be insane. It's going to be like a soccer arena, and it's going to be a foreigner coming into their territory to fight their hometown hero, their home nation hero, who's playing the heel. It's interesting. It's insane. It is great booking by Dana White, as they would say in the pro wrestling business. And just look at the styles, too, and they're both undefeated. We have Ronda Rousey, who many have said is the greatest judo in the history of UFC, male or female, taking on Beth Correia, who her fists, they look like boulders. She has a heavy, heavy right hand. Can Ronda withstand that right hand? I know where my money's going. She's the heavy favorite, Rowdy Ronda, obviously. 11-0, all the hoopla, has always delivered. Now she's going into hostile territory and gotta be her toughest test yet. Even if she's faced bigger and stiffer competition, technically maybe, but Correia is vicious. She is in her home country. It is going to be an unbelievable fight. The rest of the card, I'm sure, will deliver as well. The last few UFC cards, if you have not watched these pay-per-views and these shows on Fox television, they are always entertaining. If you enjoy seeing guys beat the living crap out of each other for money, this is the pay-per-view, the program for you. If you like to see the human spirit and you like to see a battle of wills, and you could withstand a little violence, you gotta watch it. It's compelling television. And this, you cannot get more compelling than this in sports. Title on the line. Words have been spoken that have legitimately angered each other. Jealousy, envy, all the great things that you look for on those silly reality shows, they're on UFC 190, Rousey versus Correia in Brazil. Why you wouldn't watch this is beyond me. Rowdy Ronda also, in addition to being the most badass female athlete, incredible judo, just slamming women left and right in the octagon, ripping arms off out of sockets, she cuts maybe the best promo in all of combat sports. And she said in Brazil that sure, she's facing someone with better striking ability than she has, but she's going to go into this fight, and in every fight she says there's pressure, And when she goes in there, she's going to prove that when there's pressure, she turns into a diamond because of the pressure. I don't know who ripped who off, but that was a Triple H promo on a Monday Night Raw not too long ago. I tend to lean towards her cutting that promo before Triple H ever did. She's phenomenal. And then the words from Kohea just afterwards, even after the dad stuff. Besh Kohea is saying that women's UFC, MMA, it was going to happen regardless of the success of Ronda Rousey. And that Ronda was there and she did what she did, but she didn't do any more. And she spends all her time with the media while Besh looks to spend her time with the fans. Sour grapes, Pitbull? Come on. UFC women's bantamweight division pay-per-view matches would not be the headliner without Ronda Rousey. This woman is delusional and obviously jealous. The jealousy is enough to force me to watch this pay-per-view and pay all the money to watch it, because this woman is so delusional that maybe it'll propel her to actually defeat and motivate her to defeat Ronda Rousey. I don't want to see it, but it could happen. Without Ronda Rousey and the charisma she possesses and the flash by which she wins her fights, Kohea, I'm sorry, as much as you want to promote the fight, if anybody outside of Brazil believes that, then they are insane. Ronda Rousey is a special athlete, not just for a woman, and I think Kohea might be doing some injustice to the women's UFC MMA movement by saying that, by not putting Ronda on the pedestal that she so richly deserves. No woman would have had the charisma that Ronda Rousey has. Because you know why? Because nobody has stepped up with a thimble worth of the charisma Ronda Rousey has. Nobody has stepped up to be as dominant as Ronda Rousey has. So how would people have clamored for a UFC main event featuring women if it weren't for Ronda Rousey? It's insane that to me that there's going to be a whole nation behind Besh Kohea, maybe all of South America, but she's coming off as such a heel leading up to this fight. I just want to see her ass get kicked by Ronda. I cannot wait for Ronda to administer the punishment she plans on administering. Wow. As an American, as a Rousey fan, I'm all in on this fight, and I've never been more hyped for a Ronda Rousey fight in the 11 she's had so far. It's always exciting to see what she's going to do, but my God, this personal feud between her and Kohea comes to pass in just, 4 short days from now. August 1st, UFC 190. And if you rooted against Rocky in Rocky 4, shame on you. Shame on you. Whether you're a communist, a capitalist, you're into whatever kind of society and government you like, you rooted for Rocky because Drago was an asshole. Drago killed Rocky's friend when he didn't need to. Kohea, although she didn't kill anybody, she beat 2 people up, talked major trash, and then brought up the sorest of subjects with, everybody's favorite UFC fighter, Ronda Rousey. She might have pushed the right buttons she might have said, well, I got to do this. No one's done it yet. I think it was a stupid move. Holy hell, though. What a fight we're going to get, though. This will be a fight. I don't think it's going to be a competition. It's not going to be a match. This one is a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. I can't believe, and this is only 4 days out, so I'm probably going to have to retweet this each and every day just so that it's out there, because as we get closer, more and more people need to get hyped for this one. I don't understand how you could sit there and you could go and buy Mayweather-Pacquiao when you knew that it was going to be an extremely defensive fighter facing a washed-up brawler. This one, you are getting the biggest ass kicker in her prime facing a masher. They want to kill each other. They're going to kill each other. And they don't like each other. This is going to be the fight of 2015. Need I say it again? My Lord. All right, that's been this episode, this makeup episode of Sports Talk, Sports Talk. I want to thank each and every single one of you who downloads the podcast, streams live on YouTube, subscribes to the podcast, follows me at Alan Maggle, all that. Appreciate it. I'm going to come back at you with today's actual show in a little bit. Talk more sports with you. Maybe the Steelers training camp, maybe some baseball, who knows? It's Sports Talk, Sports Talk. And tomorrow is the biggest sports day in the history of sports. And I'll see you then. But not really, just in a couple hours.